Right, hello, I'm Captain Meme, and I'm here once again with Ezio. Hi, Ezio.
Hello, hello.
This looks like a pretty ordinary game on the screen before you right now. In fact, it's a game in the Battle for Humanity um, tournament. But we've kind of separated this one out because, frankly, it's ridiculous. You'll see as the game goes along. We had a bit of a debate as to whether to cover this at all, because it's such an insane game and it certainly doesn't belong in a tournament setting. We've decided to go ahead with it just because of how different this game is. And you'll see that as we go. I was playing England in this. The AI, because Ezio already knows this, is Italy. While this game was going on, I actually messaged Ezio saying, "Look at this. You have to, take a look at what's going on here." So he knows everything about what will happen as well as me this time. It's not a blind commentary. No pretenses there.
Yeah, any prediction we make that's wrong is suddenly real embarrassing.
This is true. To be fair, it was like a month ago at this point, a month and a half ago. But it is the kind of game that sticks in your mind. So we really should get this right.
I mean,
Uh,
I'm just not going to make any predictions because
okay. I will make the predictions for you. But not just yet, because first we have to look at this 1901 board, which does not look all that ridiculous.
nope, incredibly bog standard.
Yeah, probably the only difference is just the Russian opening, right? Going north.
Yeah, but I mean, I would. That's not the most common, but it's far from like non-standard. I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it's certainly one I don't like to see when I'm England, which I was England in this game, so I was quite unhappy with that. And the other thing of note on this board, down here in the south, Venice and Rome, moving into Tyrolia and Venice, that's not particularly uncommon, right? But it is. It does kind of indicate, yes, this is the AI, because the AI really likes attacking Austria as Italy. This is something we've learned over time. Um, but yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
We'll just get on to this fall, man. It just this spring is right. It's a normal spring, right? We can see all the things. We're going to see what happens.
yeah. So this commentary is going to be a little more fast-paced than usual, just because of the kind of game this is. Let's go ahead to fall 1901. So, a couple interesting things happen here. We do see the bounce out of Sweden, right? What do you think of the move to Finland, just in general?
I mean, it's if you're opening north, I do like it because you're just kind of committing to this attack, right? And if you just move into Norway, you're going to get bounced every time. It's pretty frequent that you can get either a build from Sweden or Romania, and then you can get your army in Stampede, and then you get bogged down in this fight. But like, I don't know if I'm opening north, I really do this move to Finland all the time. I'm not sure it's optimal, but I don't like opening north all that much, so.
Right. I mean, it does make sense. Unfortunately for Russia, it doesn't make as much sense here because they got bounced out of Sweden and they have no builds, so they are going to have to cover St. Petersburg again, presumably. Um, which, yeah, that's painful for
It's
them.
not ideal, but I mean, sometimes that's how it goes. I've pointed this out in a couple of videos how the bots will just sometimes make moves that are just crazy, and it really does seem to me like the bots have some nonsense going on with their ability to see the moves. For example, like Tyrolia to Vienna. I don't know. It's just, I guess the expectation is just Vienna to Trieste, but why
Yeah,
not support yourself into Trieste or do anything else? But whatever, it works, it's fine.
I would usually do that if I was expected Vienna to be supported down by Serbia, right? Which is the potential counter to this. Well, to the Italian attack. If they did know exactly what the Austrian was doing, then you'd expect Venice to Trieste as well, right?
Also, probably, but I mean, the bots do crazy things all the time, and sometimes they just don't take Trieste immediately. I don't know.
This
Well,
is true.
this move is just it's a little bit crazy, but I mean, hey, it's whatever. It's here we are. So,
Well, yeah,
other than that, we have a bounce in Belgium, which I think Germany is really really happy about. Um, didn't waste time covering Munich, so Germany is okay.
yeah.
I don't know. The other big one, right? Austria supporting Turkey and Romania.
Yes, which is what...
Really, really big.
I mean, Russia wasn't getting the build anyway, which was sad for them, I suppose, but they managed to lose Black Sea and Romania at the same time here, and Austria gets into Galicia, although Austria lost Vienna to Italy, so
Yeah.
maybe
I
not.
think this is just really good for Turkey because Turkey gets the build, and Turkey now has two on Serbia, right? Two armies.
Yep.
And Austria is kind of stuck trying to defend against Italy, right? They're only building one. And so, how is Austria going to hold Serbia? Unclear to me. I think this is going to end really, really badly for Austria, actually. I think Austria would have much rather let Turkey bounce Russia here in Romania. But, oh well. Or maybe even support the fleet down so that way there's a fleet in Romania instead. But anyways, this is where Austria is. Like, let's look at that too.
Yep. Let's go ahead to the builds then. The Italian builds are kind of interesting here, I think, because once you're committed like this, usually you would build Army Venice.
Yeah.
But Italy does not go for that.
It's just, what on earth is the bot doing? It's crazy to me. Right? If you build Army Venice, you're not guaranteed to take Trieste because Galicia can tap Vienna, but your position is so strong against Austria. But no, I mean, the bot just says, no, I don't want this. I don't want to know what I'm doing. I don't understand. How does this bot play, do this thing? Anyways, I don't understand it. It's a build, right? And then, I mean, yeah. Clearly, Turkey, though, is looking to go after Russia with that army build in Ankara.
Yep.
That's most of the time going. Because, for what it's worth, Turkey is in the Black Sea. It's plausible that this is just going to get convoyed over to Romania while Romania takes Serbia. It's like that fun potential tactic, but hey, look, we can see the moves.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. Wait, one more interesting thing. Germany builds no fleets, so I'm quite happy in that respect.
Yeah, no, as England, you're stoked about that, right? Just no issues.
Let's go ahead to spring 1902. And here we see why Italy built two fleets. They decide to pivot completely. Actually, this doesn't look like standard bot play at all of a sudden. They take off Vienna when it gets forced by the Austrian. So they're basically saying, please do something about Turkey at this point. And they've completely pivoted away, right? Tyrolia into Piedmont, Tunis into Western Med. It's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes yes, very interesting strategy.
Is it a strategy you would do?
I mean, no, I would absolutely never in a million years make anything resembling these Italian moves. I mean, okay, look, once I have two fleets on the board, right, you put me in there at the spring, maybe that's the best line as possible, but I would just have never built two fleets that way, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I do wonder
also,
whether...
I want to support myself with the Ionian. Yeah, because if I feel like I'm going anti-Turkey, then I want to have the fleet in the Ionian to help Austria and do the Aegean, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just really good news for you as England. I mean, hey,
for sure.
Italy is going to be slamming France.
Yep. And I feel like this bot play has to be a response to the fact that Turkey just picked up Romania and Bulgaria, because it's kind of smart in that respect. It's saying, I can't afford to keep attacking Austria here because Turkey is going to get big and I have no support against the Turk in that circumstance. But it's not paying off right now because Greece bounced Naples out of the Ionian Sea, and Turkey is demilitarizing their front with the Austrians, so it's fully possible that this alliance continues. And then, we look in the West, and we have some interesting play here. So France is definitely on the back foot they've managed to lose Burgundy here, with due to this German support in England is in the English Channel as well. And then on the other front, we see something quite odd, which is Bothnia convoy Finland to Livonia. Thoughts on that?
I really like this. I actually really do like this play from Russia, because it's just the best way to get your army to a useful position, right? It's in Warsaw next turn now, and it was, I think, totally possible that Ukraine bounced Galicia out of Warsaw, and so then you can use the money to cover Warsaw and the spring, and while you can still hold Ukraine. So I think this was a really, really clean way to get the Russian army to a better position. And if you now decide to make peace with Germany, or excuse me, make peace with Russia, you can kick Germany out of Sweden. I think I really like this conflict. I really, really, really like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's bold, right, though, because it's you have to trust that the English player isn't just going to walk into St. Petersburg. Although I suppose you could knock the English player out of St. Petersburg if they didn't follow up into Norway.
Yep.
But
also, I mean, no, England is going to go for St. Petersburg here, right? They're gonna like support Denmark into Sweden or whatever. I mean, I just don't expect England's never go for open centers like this, right? Especially St. Pete. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair, because I was 100% expecting that the Russian unit would go back to St. Petersburg. So you don't want to waste a turn by trying to bounce that. You just go to Barents or something if you want to attack it.
Yep. I mean, maybe if you're going to Barents, I think then Norway goes to St. Pete because there's no cost. But
yeah, that's
maybe
fair.
you support Denmark into Sweden, right? I think that's the most common move. Or you what something like this to just get yourself in a good position on St. Pete and then hold them down forever. But no, I really liked this convoy. I think it was a good move from Russia.
Yeah, well, if you like this move from Russia, you're going to have a fun time with the next move for Bothnia from Russia. Let's go ahead to fall 1902 here. You see this convoy? This is, again, Bothnia convoy Finland to Livonia.
I mean, I think this move is a very funny move. It's just nerves of steel. To just make this joke convoy when St. Peter's Open is not something I could ever bring myself to do. But I mean, hey, sometimes that's how it goes.
Thing is, like, I'm not entirely sure it's just a joke, right? Because the Russian clearly knows that this is about to happen with the Austria-Turkey alliance advancing on their centers. They're going into Ukraine, Sevastopol, Galicia. You need another unit to defend that. And the only unit that can is that English army in Finland. Whether that English army ever takes that convoy...
No way. It's a gunboat game, man. Again, in a full press game, I think there's an argument for something to be made, right? I think really that can happen sometimes. But anyways, it's great. Whatever. The convoy earlier was great. The second time, it doesn't always go great, but it's fine.
Yeah.
In the West, though, we do see actually two powers colluding, and it's you and the bot.
Yep. The bot supporting me into Mid-Atlantic Ocean here, which is actually huge.
It's ridiculously important.
Yeah.
Super impactful.
It's like, while France owns the Mid-Atlantic Ocean, I'm constantly under threat here. It's why I had to take Sweden in the north, because I needed that extra fleet in Liverpool, just in case France just decides to wander into the North Atlantic Ocean or such. But once France is knocked out, they had the chance of separating off their fleet and retreating north, which is painful when England has a build and you can't take anything, or retreating into Portugal and getting potentially locked out of Mid-Atlantic Ocean. Especially with Brest moving to Gascony here, that means that it's going to be very difficult to push back out with the fleets.
Yep, France looks cooked.
Yep.
Right, at this point in the game, right, if you told me France was eliminated in 2 years flat, I'd believe you. Because, I mean, Italy looks poised to take Marseille and Spain. You look like you're going to get Brest. Germany is just going to be annoying. But fundamentally, I mean, Germany can't do anything with only Belgium and Burgundy. Like,
Yep.
World breakthrough is imminent. But again, right? If you told me that France dies really, really quickly here, I would totally believe you because I mean France is just super bad
I
position.
I feel like this is actually a position where Germany should strongly consider building a fleet and starting to work with France, because otherwise they're not going to get anything, right? They
I
get
think
Belgium.
I don't know about building. Like, yes, you need to figure out somebody else to attack other than France. In this particular position, I don't like building the fleet because I think you're not going to win the fight against England. Um,
Right.
maybe you have to. Maybe you have to, and you just have to like go to Helgel and bite and just hope that something goes weird. But because of how the East is kind of collapsed on Russia already, my plan would probably be to push to the East and start messing with it. Right, pick up
Yeah.
pick up dots from the Austrian or the Italian and do something weird like that, where you do the really small extended EG. Now, it sucks to commit to the EG like that because you know you're not going to win forever. So maybe you have to build a fleet. I think you're right.
Well, yeah. I mean, the big threat at the moment, if you do build that fleet, is if this Austria-Turkey holds, you are a bit cooked just because of all the Austrian armies that are about to appear on your border. Uh,
Yeah, and because England is not going to be happy about that, and if you're getting pressured from England immediately, right, you're going to be stuck trying to hold Denmark, and that's going to be a challenge. You're probably not going to succeed, and then England and France, like they can stay. England can keep France from doing anything with 2 units, right? If London sits in the English Channel and supports the Mid-Atlantic Ocean forever, then France can do nothing against England, and England can devote all the rest of England's units against Germany, and then you're just dead. So you really, really need England on side, but whatever. I mean, it sucks. It's an impossible position as Germany. I don't know. I never built 2 armies with Germany in '01 because then you never have to deal with this situation in '02, right?
yep.
I just
Yeah.
build my fleet, take Sweden, move on with my day.
That's the takeaway,
Um,
right? If you build a fleet at this point, it's anti-England because you committed to being pro-England by not building the fleet in the first year. But if you build the fleet in the first year, it can be pro-England because it was just to take Sweden. So always, always build that fleet. Don't go, don't go all
yeah,
armies. Never go
if you
full
get
army.
one build and Munich is open, okay, I
Yeah.
think a fleet might be a little crazy, but I'm not even convinced that's completely wrong in even those situations. But certainly if you have 2 builds, right, one of them should be a fleet and a gunboat game, man. Like whatever.
Yep. But this is a weird game, right? Because we've seen a full army Germany committing to an EG, and then an Austria who gets a token of friendship from the Italian after that initial attack, gets given back Vienna. The Italian clearly wants them to go after Turkey, and they say, "No, I'm going to stick to this AT.
I
I'm
mean,
going
it's
to
been
take
like
this
a
support
year,
into
right?
Ionian." Yeah, but
Yeah, it's unclear to me if they're going to stick together in the long run because this is kind of the turning point right here, where Austria on this turn after builds can like go down into Serbia and then like just pressure Romania, keep Russia alive with those 2 units, try to take Romania and Bulgaria, right? Move into the Eastern Med and just be, hey, look, I'm Austria against Turkey. Or here, Austria can push west and then say, hey, there's like 4 Italian centers and nothing defending them. I wonder
that's
what Austria is going to pick, but
That's
it can.
kind of fair. I feel like here you have to do Greece support Naples to Ionian if you're, or at least not do Greece to Ionian if you're working with the Italian, right? Because this is going to make the Italian turn around.
Oh, what the Italians turn around because you're not going to break Turkey yourself. You're not with one fleet. You can't do it.
Yeah,
You need the Italian to get into Ionian, and so you're going to piss off the Italian, pull them back into Tyrrhenian and Tunis, probably Venice as well. But then, and when they see your moves in the spring, they decide, oh, I can work with Austria now because they clearly want to anyways. But
it's an interesting plan. Well, shall we move ahead to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the? Okay,
Let's do
so
it.
we're going to do a very quick power rankings at Winter 1902 here. Who would you
All right, it's Turkey and
most?
then
Yes.
everybody else.
Okay, Turkey goes to the top. Who is in second?
England,
Yeah, I agree completely. I think we can safely say that Russia's in last at this point.
yeah, versus last.
Probably.
I don't know, is Italy worse than France? Probably France is worse because, yeah. So then it's Russia, France, Italy, and then Germany.
And then, yeah,
Austria or Germany? I would rather play Austria. I think Austria's going to have more fun in this game.
We'll put Austria ahead based on fun, but I think Germany would just be a generally better pick because Germany in an EG is slightly more defended than Austria in an AT.
Especially in AT when Turkey's got three armies and one of them is in Ukraine and the other one's and the other one's in Romania and yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, this is
I agree.
looking mightily like a juggernaut position where you don't have Italian assistance, which is
But I think that Austria is going to have more fun.
yep. Yeah, I agree completely. I think this Turkish build is a bit of an odd one. It's Fleet Constantinople. What like that just blocks
Constantinople is
in
just always worse than
Bulgaria.
Fleet Smyrna unless you're moving to the Black Sea and you already have a Fleet Bulgaria East Coast moving into the Black Sea. So what's up, Turkey? Excuse
Yeah,
you.
I think
Let's like
the other instances if you need to build an army in Smyrna to move to Armenia, but then actually you build it in Ankara. That's fine.
great.
So yeah.
Anyways, don't worry about it. Mistakes are made. It's not going to cost anyone anything because it doesn't matter.
Yes. Okay.
All right,
Let's
let's go to the spring.
move ahead to spring 1903. So, anything stand out to you here?
I mean, you didn't move into the English Channel. You went and said, "Hey, Germany, I see you don't have any ways to defend yourself. Time to die, buddy." And so you do that.
So, I should say, part of what led to this game being so ridiculous, it's not the biggest factor of this game being ridiculous. There's the AT to blame for that, plus a big event later, plus Germany not building any fleets. But I was very much of the opinion, I'm going to try and use this game to test the theory that if you get rid of every fleet in the north, you just win as England, right? Try and get rid of all of them and then just build armies. So I thought, well, France is in a position where their fleet is in Gascony, the other fleet is trapped in Portugal. I don't need to concern myself with them right now. I'm going to get rid of this Denmark fleet. That's my number one thing. I think I may have overcommitted to getting rid of the Denmark fleet looking at this.
You didn't move into the English Channel.
Yeah. It does not usually require 4 units to get rid of Denmark.
And you wouldn't have even done it if Russia didn't happily move into the Baltic Sea and just leave St. Petersburg again.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't think you've reached out to me about this game yet. I would argue against this, but I mean, whatever. Your position's great. It's going to be fine, anyways. Big deal. Austria convoyed into Apulia,
Yeah.
and it just worked. So, yep, there goes. Oh yeah, and Italy didn't go back to defend themselves. The bot didn't. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Italy is just dead. Hilariously, Austria could have moved into Tyrolia or Trieste from Vienna and then just walked into Venice. But Austria instead moved to Bohemia because presumably they want to get into Silesia and then take Warsaw. But very sad. Very sad to not get the extra free belt here.
I mean, Russia does manage to defend themselves against the Turkish attack with the double bounce on Ukraine. The only thing that, well, Turkey attacked in the wrong way, right? But that's
yeah, I mean, it's in the spring. Who cares about taking a dot in the spring?
yeah, and it gives them an excuse not to support Austria in, right?
Yep, it's a great excuse.
But yeah, other things that happened. I mean, the German unit ends up in Picardy instead of being in Burgundy. There's an empty Burgundy, so they have a position where they could start working together. But the Italian has gotten into Marseille, so the French player is looking quite worse for wear right now.
Yeah, but I think this turn was net really, really, really good for France because you didn't move into the English Channel,
Yep.
and you're gonna kill Germany now. So France just suddenly has a glimmer of hope, and is likely gonna get into the Mid-Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, they could, although they would lose Spain in the process if they do, right?
I mean, probably seems likely.
They have to rely, in order to keep Spain, they have to rely on me support holding them, I believe.
Yeah, but you supported Portugal into Spain. You're clearly going to support whole Spain next turn. That's
Yeah.
totally going to happen.
So I think they don't force Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I mean, I'm fairly sure they don't force Mid-Atlantic Ocean, because I don't remember them forcing Mid-Atlantic Ocean here. But yeah, this is... I think it would be a bad decision for them to force Mid-Atlantic Ocean anyway.
Yeah, I think it's totally reasonable. I mean, yeah, whatever. It's just France's position looks holdable now, right? These are the positions as France that you just randomly don't die from, and you're just okay. So
Yeah,
I think let's go to the fall.
let's go to
Let's
fall
do it.
1903. They do try and support themselves into Mid-Atlantic Ocean, but Germany saves me.
Yeah,
Okay, I forgot the reason this game is ridiculous. It's not just all the like high scale stuff of madness that ends up going on. It's also just the number of, well, just the power dynamic in what people do. Like the German randomly cutting breast here while I'm attacking Denmark. It ends up saving Mid-Atlantic Ocean for me and stopping the French. I guess they were trying to suicide rush me here. I'm not sure. I don't remember why I cut Portugal here either. That just seems so stupid. I think I was.
you were working. Italy has been supporting you in Mid-Atlantic Ocean all the time, right?
Yeah, this is
And it was
true.
being super friendly, so you were just being friendly back.
Yeah, I think the difference was that I was thinking before that Austria, Italy, Turkey might be a triple that's happening, because Italy is just trying to rush Iberia as fast as possible, right?
Okay, sure.
Once
After the
Austria
convoy
convoys,
into
yeah,
Apulia,
it's like, okay, I need to prop Italy up at this point.
it's like a Western triple with an army in Picardy and Belgium from England. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, definitely a Western triple here.
Yes. So once you see the convoy, you go, okay, that's not a triple anymore. I guess I can help Italy out. Um, Although, yeah,
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
yeah, I remember in my mind there was a lot of, okay, I need to keep some kind of balance of power in this game because there's clearly a huge threat on the other side of the board that needs to be countered. So if I go too fast or too hard or whatever, that might just run over everything.
Yeah,
And
sounds great.
massive props to Russia for again countering something with this bounce in Cilicia. They slowed down this advance quite a lot. Unfortunately, did not manage to take anything with their fleet, so they are going down one. But yeah,
Yeah, Russia's playing a great game after opening North and getting outbuilt to no one.
yes. I mean, against an AT, you can't really. You their opening kind of relied on Austria supporting them into Romania, right? That's out of friendship, and Austria decided that no, it would be better to be friendly
Or
with
Turkey
Turkey.
not bouncing Romania, right? Turkey
Yeah,
didn't have to move up.
that's also fair. But then, why would Turkey not bounce Romania when you're putting a fleet in there? It's like maybe just to
It
stay
happens
friendly.
pretty frequently, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah. So, is there anything else to talk about here?
Now let's look at 04. Let's look at the builds.
Oh, I got
And then
rid of the
04.
German fleet. I should say I've made the German go down to no fleets. So
Because of the Russian bounce in Berlin.
yes, otherwise they would have saved it, which would have been very annoying considering I
Because they did it, right?
didn't.
Germany was trying to keep that fleet on the board by supporting it out, so even your cut of the attempted bounce wouldn't have worked. It was good play here.
Yeah, but Russia saves me.
Good job, Russia.
Well, not saves me,
Those
but
units putting in work.
yeah. Okay, let's move to winter 1903. And we see France has to disband. They take Fleet Portugal off the board, which is a choice.
I mean, hey, maybe you and Italy will bounce in Portugal forever.
I wonder if that might happen.
Maybe.
But yes, we have a disband of Fleet Baltic. Makes sense. You're trying to protect your remaining supply centres. Build Fleet London. So I'm going to English Channel at this point, and Fleet Rome. Army Trieste is about to attack the Italian army Constantinople to menacingly sit on Austria's border forever. Or maybe not forever, I guess we will see. So, shall we move ahead to spring?
Let's do it.
Alright, spring 1904. And we actually don't bounce in Portugal, like England and the bot in Italy. Italy tries to take mid-Atlantic Ocean, and France throws me a friendly support hold, despite the fact I just cut Portugal and lost them Spain. Which is very nice of them, I'll admit. I very much appreciate that. Meanwhile, the German is backing out of Picardy. They're moving their position back to just solidify their own defenses, I guess. Except they're also crossing the line into Tyrolia, which the Austrian is probably not going to be super happy with. Is there anything you want to talk about here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised. I mean, okay, it makes some sense. With France supporting you in Mid-Atlantic Ocean, I bet you're really sad about moving London into Wales instead of North Sea to Helgoland and London and English Channel.
Yes. Well, so my thinking here now is, okay, I've gotten rid of the German fleet. I'm getting rid of all the fleets in the north. Where's the next fleet in the north to get rid of? But then I have to be super careful about how I handle this, because those Italian fleets could also become fleets in the north. And then there's more problems there. But yeah, if I was continuing the attack on Germany here, I absolutely should have moved North Sea to Denmark and London to North, I assume. Or like London to English Channel and North Sea to Denmark. Or just attack Holland.
Yep, there were lots of things that could have happened here that involved London going into the English Channel and not Wales, but it didn't. That's fine. And like the main thing is that Austria's position has improved dramatically. The only annoyance is that army in Tyrolia, but it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Probably.
The only other potential problem is Army Bulgaria, but the Turk can only stab for 2, I think. Serbia and Greece, right? Which would still be painful, but it's not. When you're running an AT with an Austria this trusting, you kind of want to leave it a bit longer so you can stab for like 4 or 5 later.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, that's how I play the AT.
If I play as Turkey and Austria has Greece, that AT just doesn't last.
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
C dot takes on A. But I feel like Austria having Greece is a reason to keep the AT around longer, because it means you can stab for more later. There's no way Austria can ever protect that supply center, so it's always a guaranteed disband for him.
yeah, but like, let's just say I go for a stab this turn, right? I get Ionian into Adriatic Sea, I get Eastern Med into Ionian, I take Serbia, then I take Greece.
Yeah.
I build 2, Austria disbands 2. Is Austria going to be able to hold Warsaw? No. Is Austria going to, like, I don't know. I am absolutely expecting to stab the crap out of this Austria immediately. But, again, maybe I would wait another year.
Okay,
Maybe.
well, I mean,
Maybe.
if we move ahead to fall 1904 here, you can see, I believe this Turkey is of your mindset, yes. They do, in fact, go into Serbia, Greece, Galicia, Adriatic, Ionian Sea. They do miss out on Tunis, which they could have got here. I think this was the moment where I called you to say, hey, come start watching this game. It's hilarious. Primarily because of what's going on in Livonia, Moscow, and Warsaw here. This is
Yeah.
this is a beautiful moveset where the Turk goes, okay, I'm stabbing the Austrian, I'll support the Russian into Warsaw. The Austrian goes, okay, I'm working with the Turk, I'll support the Turk into Livonia so they can set up on St. Pete. And the Russian goes, okay, I need to get this alliance to break, I'll support the Austrian into Moscow to try and give myself Warsaw back, or at least break these two up before they get to St. Petersburg. And then all of them, because they're, well as not as trying to support each other against each other, they all issue a support hold onto their unit. So none of these supports would work anyway. It's fantastic.
This is a significant advantage to the backstabber, to this interface, versus the web dip interface.
Yes.
Because on the web dip interface, all of these units look like they just held. And you don't see they tried to support in this funny pattern.
Yes.
So I think this is a huge improvement.
I love this pattern. On the web diff interface, even on the big map, it looks like it's really hard to tell what's going on. But here you can see in detail the attempts trying to support people in. I love it, because everyone essentially had the same thought process here and did exactly the same thing. But yeah, so the big thing, like, this stab is going to result in a huge turkey. There's no question about it. I would have probably held back till later to try and get myself bigger. But it's still...
You're going to be a 9-center turkey in Winter 04.
Yeah. So it's still likely worthwhile.
Huge edge to take Budapest. Like, you're clearly gonna top this board, right? If you make this step.
Yep. Or are you? Foreboding. Anyway. Interestingly, Austria doesn't have any disbands, I think, because they took Warsaw and Venice both. They could have even got a build if Italy had done the wrong thing here, but Italy successfully countered their play. And yeah, they end up break even, but two of those armies are in the Italian peninsula. They also have a fleet in the Italian peninsula. It's not looking good for their abilities to defend themselves.
Yeah, also an army in Silesia, which is not the best to defend Budapest and Vienna.
Yeah. So
power rankings, right? Did anything change?
Yeah, I mean, I should also point out, myself and Italy did bounce in Portugal, so this ended up being a good call for France on which units to disband. And France supported English Channel to Mid-Atlantic Ocean to try and prevent any kind of Italian incursion there. Anyway, power rankings. If we go into winter here, I mean, Turkey's top, England's still second, definitely. Austria we had in third. I feel like Germany at the very least is above them now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Germany's position still sucks because Germany is still not going to do anything. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, Germany can't... They could maybe snipe something from the Austrian while Turkey is advancing, but then Turkey just advances faster, right? And you can't go the other direction because you've got no fleets. So
yeah, maybe France, actually. Maybe from here, Germany can actually get into Picardy and Burgundy and kill France while Austria pulls back to defend.
Maybe, but then how much of France do you get? You get Paris.
You get Paris, you get a build, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially if France ends up losing Portugal, because then 2 units to defend. That's much easier to break through than a normal France. So, yeah, I say... So, we've got Germany, and then... I almost think the Italian position is stronger than the Austrian position because the Italian is less likely to die.
I mean, okay. Yeah, I give you that. I'd rather be Italy than Austria.
So I will move Italy above Austria, and then I guess France must be worse than Austria here, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and then Russia down there at the bottom. Poor old Russia, who's actually played a really good game outside of complete the horrendous opening and the fact that this AT has just stayed solid throughout.
Yeah, Russia opened north and got really punished for it. I mean...
Yeah, you cannot get more punished than an unbreakable AT until you're dead and then they break. That's, but hey, got a chance at survival here. So those are our power rankings now. Let's go ahead to spring 1905. And now Russia actually just straight up supports me in St. Petersburg. It should be noted they've never deliberately protected St. Pete. They've always been... The only time they've covered is when they were forced back into it by the Turk. Now they're actively throwing it away. Although maybe not throwing it away, because they're... Well, they still have options here. They could hope for me to support them in and stuff.
Yeah, my bet is they're going to tap Moscow and hope that you support them into Moscow in the fall.
Yeah. And you see...
I think this is actually really smart because Russia was not going to be able to hold St. Petersburg in the fall against you because of your extra fleet coming into Gulf of Bothnia.
Yeah.
So assuming Russia just did something normal like cover St. Pete, they were going to die. So this way there's a chance they can actually survive.
Yeah. This makes sense. I mean, it wasn't guaranteed the Baltic would come up to Bothnia, but I think I supported Kiel to Berlin last turn just to reinforce the German against the... or show the German that I was willing to reinforce them against the AT. So it was likely that I was going to stick with Germany, especially since they can't do anything to me here. I can just stick the fleet in Denmark and they'll never get anywhere unless they get a build.
Yep. And even if they get a build, right, they have to have Kiel or Berlin open, and so my bet is you tap Kiel this turn just to see if anything funky happens. Prevent a fleet from getting built there.
I think even in that, like, they're unlikely to get anything. I guess they could get forced in Burgundy. That would be the way they would get a build here, right?
That's the most natural one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember if I actually do that. But yes, in the south we see Austria trying to defend themselves as much as possible, but also just taking Rome, because why not? I mean, what else are those armies gonna do?
Yep. But in the meantime, Turkey gets into Apulia and Ionian and just continues getting ready to steamroll. Like, this is... Yep. This is why the stab last turn was so good, because this is the position you get out of it. And, I mean, again, how does Turkey not finish this game with 13 centers?
Yeah, it's pretty impossible to see any situation where they couldn't. Not foreshadowing at all. But yeah, so the interesting thing here as well is Italy is just repeatedly going for Portugal instead of turning around here and trying to defend Tyrrhenian or Tunis. I guess it kind of makes sense. They just stick Tyrrhenian Sea in Tunis. They're like, if I get into Portugal, then I have the Iberian front. If I don't, then I'm still in Western Med to support whole Tunis if they go into Tyrrhenian. But I think at this point, I was thinking Italy's got to turn around soon, right? You've got to start trying to fend off this Turk. And at that point, you give me Portugal. I want Portugal. So I'm just going to keep going for it.
But, like, why would Italy ever turn around? Italy's not going to be able to take Rome or Naples ever again.
Yeah, it's fair. I just kind of based it on the assumption that, hey, they'll stop the leader, right? Like, I'm not letting them into Portugal. I think I've made that clear.
At some point right now that you're back in the Irish Sea, you can just, like, you can abuse this by going into Western Med and Mid-Atlantic Ocean, and then you're gonna take Spain.
Yes. So I kind of wanted to take Portugal diplomatically here by going, okay, I want Portugal. This is why I'm continuing to attack it, even though the Turk is advancing on you from behind. Please just give me Portugal, and then we'll, I'll let you go the other way. It's fine.
Sure.
But yeah.
Okay, great. I mean, I'm glad that was the thought process.
I think you can tell how well that thought process is going to work out, especially considering Italy is the bot. But yeah, so anything else to talk about here, or shall we just move ahead?
In the spring, I mean, we can just hear Austria's death knell.
Yeah,
just ringing.
This is painful, especially like supporting Silesia into Galicia. It's okay in that it gives you some options for like attacking Budapest and stuff, but it also means that the only unit that can support whole Warsaw here is getting can get tapped now, right? Whereas it could have held it before. I suppose if Moscow is getting cut by the Russian, then you don't have to worry about that as much. But yeah. So actually, no, that's not a fair criticism. But
Yeah, no, I mean, I think supporting into Galicia was correct. It's just there's Austria has 3 armies that can fight. Turkey has 5. I mean, okay, 4 Bulgaria's a turn away.
yep,
Like, one of these sides is going to win this. The other side isn't. Oh, is it the side that has more units is going to win? Whoa!
I never would have guessed. Okay, let's go ahead to full 1905.
And we see you try to help Russia back into Moscow, and it doesn't work, and it's very sad.
Yes, and the Austrian actually tries to help me back into Moscow instead. Well, back into Moscow instead of supporting the Russian, which I think surprised me a bit at the time. But I suppose that could have worked. It would just be incredibly bold of the Russian to also support that move.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Russian doesn't seem to care much about life.
This is true.
Right? They've been vacated. They supported you into St. Pete. Maybe he was thinking he was drawing to you, and so then he would just support you into Moscow also.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, that's just sometimes guesswork is a guesswork. Here, these moves from Turkey really did surprise me, though. Right? I think Turkey could have continued the pressure much harder than Turkey did. Um, I remember looking at this tactically, assuming there was a way that Turkey was going to take something here, like have Serbia tap Trieste while Adriatic supports Apulia to Venice or something.
Yeah.
As I've looked at it a little more closely, it does appear like it was actually just a guess. What did Rome support hold? Because Rome could have support held the other thing, but
I think you could do Serbia to Trieste with Apulia tapping Venice and Adriatic support Serbia to Tree, right? And then
yeah. But then if you take Trieste, you still lose Budapest to
you
this.
can lose Budapest, but then you retreat into Vienna.
But if you kick Trieste out, then Trieste retreats to Vienna.
No, but you only lose Budapest if.
Because it comes from Trieste.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but okay, so this is an important thing to note at this point. I think I mentioned it in the previous video. Some of these players were newish to web diplomacy, so getting orders in 5 minutes was a bit tough. So we can't. When they start getting huge, we can't really hold them to blame that much for bad orders. But these were suboptimal. I mean, Turkey's still strong.
Ultimately, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Right? Ultimately, right? Turkey's got like 4 years before the game could start ending, and there's just nothing's going to stop this Turk. Although it would have been nice to force Austria to disband instead of Austria staying neutral, but whatever. I mean, the position still improved for Turkey, right? Bulgaria still got into Romania, and no units in the West really came closer, right? If Berlin ended up in Silesia, there would be concern. If Munich was in Tyrol or something, but no, I mean, the West is still has not gotten its act together, even a little bit. Like, England is clear #1, but not doing anything to stop Turkey. Germany is running around. France is being annoying. Like, yeah, Turkey's just going to win this game, going to be 15 centers and call it a day.
Yep. Yeah, basically. And this is a big reason why, at the moment, I'm still, like, holding Denmark, support holds St. Petersburg. I feel like, as the English player in this position, you should just at least leave the German alone so that the German can defend against the Turk once the Turk crosses the line. You do not want to irritate the German.
Philosophies are so different, because in this position, I am absolutely going to build armies. I'm going to convoy these armies into Prussia and Livonia. Right.
Interesting.
I'm not gonna be sitting back. I'm gonna be pushing forward, right?
Where do you get the army builds from? Are you gonna stab Germany for those?
Well, no, we have one army build, right? We took St. Petersburg, right?
Yes, we do. That's true.
So we don't have to build this fleet Liverpool, right? We can just build an army, and then we can move English Channel to North Sea, Irish Sea to English Channel, and then Liverpool we convoy into Denmark in the fall, and then we move by moving Denmark into the Baltic Sea, and then once the armies in Denmark, we convoy to Livonia, right? Or Prussia.
That could work.
Suddenly we've got 2 armies on the Turkish front. Turkey actually has to use an extra unit to hold down Moscow. Maybe Austria helps us in. Like, who knows? Right?
So,
but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair approach. I think my thought process was I really want to do nothing that will irritate people right now. I want to just take Portugal, which I'm justified to. France will not be annoyed at me if I do that. I want to take St. Petersburg, which Russia has donated to me, and then I'll just attack the Turk and, hope that we
You'll
can
attack the
hold
Turk
them.
with your
Well,
6 fleets?
I'll attack the Turk with St. Petersburg.
Great.
Nonsense. Honestly, I was not expecting Germany to go as all in on France as they did right here, as in they knocked the French fleet out of Picardy, so they put their army in Picardy to, I'm not sure why they did that.
I think they keep expecting France to lose Portugal, and therefore one of these units has to go,
yes.
and suddenly Germany can actually make progress against France here, but until that happens, France is just impossible to kill, man.
Yep. I remember getting quite excited when the German dislodged the French fleet in fall 1905 because I thought, oh yeah, it's going to come off the board and then France is going to rebuild an army there just to appease me, right? I'll have gotten rid of that last hanging on fleet. And then they retreated it to Brest. I'm like, oh. Okay then.
Anyways, let's go to the sea. Let's go to Spring 06.
So, yeah, Winter only has the fleet build in Liverpool. The Italian gets rid of fleet Tyrrhenian Sea, so they're still just bunkering up on this Iberian front. And then, yeah.
They're not going to let you into Portugal, because as soon as you get into Portugal, you're going to take Spain, right? They can't let you into Portugal.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, let's go ahead to spring 1906. They do indeed bounce me out of Portugal again.
Right? They just...
like they don't even defend Tunis. They just continue doing everything they can.
Tunis doesn't matter, man. So here we see Turkey start to actually put the pedal to the metal, take Venice, gets into Tyrrhenian Sea. It's just Austria's cooked, right? We're gonna see Trieste fall. We're gonna see Vienna fall. I mean, everything's dead.
Yes, although they do lose Moscow. That's what the Austrian dived into Ukraine just to make that happen, I suppose. That's
no, I mean, it's a thing. It's relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, Turkey could choose to retake Moscow, but I'm fine with England getting another build here. You're gonna have another fleet, and that's who's gonna care.
Yep. But yeah, so the other interesting thing that happens right here, I guess, so yeah, Turkey is gonna take everything. They are about to get huge. They're already huge, but they're gonna get even bigger. The only other interesting thing that happened is Germany loses Picardy off the board in return for Burgundy once again.
So yeah, I mean, you say interesting as if this exact type of sequence hasn't already happened, I think, this game.
The important thing about this one is that that unit came off the board, so there is the potential for Germany to build a fleet at this point.
Yeah, but Germany's not going to build a fleet here. Come on!
Yeah, it would be fairly dumb at this point. But it's still a possibility.
I'm going to challenge the 6th Fleet England with the 1 Fleet Germany. What? Oh yeah, I'm going to do this when Turkey is a solo threat. That's the line here. Yep.
I think I tapped not Trieste, Kiel in the fall just to make sure that they don't build a fleet there. Sure. I don't remember. Actually, is there anything more to talk about in the spring? Or
well, in the spring it's whatever, right? There's nothing happened except you bounced in Portugal again. Hey, look, in the fall, you bounced in Portugal again.
Yep. Okay, I didn't even tap Kiel. But yeah, so I at this point, maybe I should have just taken Brest and let the Italian have Portugal, but I was thinking I want to do things that won't annoy people. The Italian is going to give me Portugal eventually.
Yep, absolutely. And Spain also, right? Italy's just going to give you Spain.
I was just like, come on, man. He has to give me Portugal. He's got the Turk coming up behind him,
Yeah, you know how he's going to survive? He's going to be in Portugal. It's his only path.
So he actively has given up Tunis here, so loses that to the Turk. So is going to go down a unit in this coming turn. But of course,
and it's not going to be Fleet Spain.
That does not prevent his ability to bounce me out of Portugal.
Yep. Also, we see you try to cut Ukraine. rather than just holding in Moscow. So even though Austria threw you as support, it didn't matter.
Yes, this was dumb on my part. I wasn't looking at the full situation down here because I didn't think. I thought that the most likely order set here would be Turkey doing something. What did I think they were going to do? This seems bad in every circumstance.
I think it's like, look, if Austria wants to support Silesia and Galicia, and you create a support holding Galicia, then you really have to cut that support. Yep.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
should
look,
have
it's
just
a
held
5-minute
this.
game. You're whatever 9 units. It takes like 3 minutes of your clock to just sit here and say, "Am I going to tap Portugal again?" and then to input the supports into Mid Atlantic Ocean. To
Okay,
follow it up.
you know
Like,
what I'm gonna blame this on? I'm gonna blame this on the fact I was live commentating how stupid this game was to you, because I think I was just getting very annoyed at the fact that the Italian was bouncing me out of Portugal.
Yeah, I wish I could go back and see the chat log that I sent. I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of "Stop this, you lunatic," but I probably didn't phrase it as eloquently. I probably was like, "Yeah, so Turkey's gonna win this game. What are we playing here for, man? Why are we doing anything?"
I remember
Right.
I did actually talk to you about. I was saying, okay, I'm seeing this German-French war that's going on the Burgundy-Picardy front, where none of them are ever making progress. They're just constantly swapping Burgundy or Picardy around. Like, both of them clearly want my support into places. I'm not going to give either of them my support ever. They could just keep on bouncing continuously along this line.
Yep, I mean, 'cause you know what I like doing when there's a solo threat? If I like having 6 units tied down, swapping places.
But, like, I really wanted to be the only strong power on this side of the board. That was my thing.
I mean, you did it. You have done it. You are the only strong power on this side of the board. The problem is you're still 5 centers weaker than Turkey.
Yep. Okay. So
let's go
to
winter, right?
winter and then redo our power rankings. Oh boy, Turkey's at the top. Who would have
Hey, look,
guessed?
Turkey's at the top, England second, whatever. Everybody else doesn't matter.
Germany third. We've got Italy fourth, Austria fifth, France sixth. Should we swap France and Austria? I don't know.
Yeah, I think France is clearly no longer in last. Oh, bye Russia. Sorry, you lived a good life.
Oh yes, Russia.
But yeah, no, I think Italy is last now. I think Italy is most likely to die because you're gonna take Portugal eventually if your life depends on it.
Yes.
And like France can never die because you're never going to attack him either. And then Austria's probably last, right? Austria's doomed. Austria's going to die, right? How can Austria survive from here? Vienna's lost. Rome is lost. Yeah. Austria's last.
I think there's a pretty big gap between Germany and then France, Italy, Austria down at the bottom.
Completely agree. Yes, roughly a 2-center gap. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the spring.
Right, so spring 1907 here. We do see
again nothing interesting, right? We see that Germany is finally moving some units against Turkey. So if Turkey doesn't get to walk into Silesia, Prussia, and Bohemia, it's probably not an actual easy walk into a solo, but at some point it's going to happen. Also, oh my god.
I didn't bounce Portugal.
Don't bounce Italy out of Portugal. What? That's illegal? Mid-Atlantic Ocean? I don't think it was allowed to make another move.
You know what's terrible about this? I still can't take Spain because Italy can just support Marseille to Spain. No. But at least he can't use it to keep 3 units on the
You didn't just tap Spain here? Anyways, this is great. I love it. You're in the south. You can make moves again. You can actually pressure Tunis. Something is gonna happen, right?
Yep.
Queen Livonia is gonna hold, right? Okay, Turkey's gonna take all of Italy and gain 1, 2, 3 centers plus Warsaw 14. Okay, Italy's gonna be at 17 centers, and that's gonna be it.
Italy is gonna be at 17. That would be impressive.
Turkey's gonna be at 17. And that's gonna be fine after taking all the Italian centers.
Yep.
Right? That's just it.
Okay, so
nothing else to this game.
Summer Squares rewards keeping the rest of the board divided as much as possible, right? I think I have improved Turkey's score quite a bit
Oh yeah, by not taking centers for yourself. Yes, you have absolutely really wrecked your own score here. Yep,
Well, I've
absolutely.
also kept the rest of the board divided,
Except Turkey,
except for Turkey.
except for the top player. The top player wants to keep the rest of the board divided. Meme, not the second place. The second place wants to eat the rest of the board.
Okay.
Alright, let's go to the fall of '07, right? Fall
Right.
of '07, okay?
So yes, we're moving ahead to the fall of 1907 here. Austria actually gets into Warsaw because... sorry, not Austria. Germany gets into Warsaw because Austria, again, taps something to make sure that someone else gets into against Turkey.
Yep.
Good for him.
Good news
It was
from
the
Austria
only
holding the
thing.
line. And then again, Turkey in the south chose not to support Ionian and Tunis, so no progress was made there. This was done because, I don't know, they can't count, I guess. I think Turkey forgot that with Trieste and Adriatic supporting Venice, there was no way that Rome, Apulia, and Tyrolia could take Venice, and so Tyrrhenian Sea might have been needed to cut support from Rome.
Yep.
I think that was the thought process. Just, oops, mistake was made. That's fine.
Yeah, I think it was again a case of not being able to enter orders in time, or think through
I
things in time.
mean, yeah, I think things true quite. But I mean, look, even still, Turkey is taking one from Austria and giving it to Germany. So Austria's going to disband one, and that unit's going to be important. I mean, not that important. Bohemia is not the biggest deal, but Turkey position is still fine. Right? Nothing matters. Let's just go on. Right? Let's go to the winter. Let's see what this
Wait.
do.
One thing matters here. It matters to me.
Yeah.
I went to Tunis, despite it being completely pointless. The Turk was gonna support themselves in, I thought, because I could not have taken Spain. They were gonna support Marseille into Spain. They didn't support Marseille into Spain. I could have taken
Yep.
Spain.
Yep.
I could have taken
You
Brest
could
for
have, but you
free at
didn't.
the same time. Oh my god. I hated everything about this position so much.
Yep. I mean, look, things aren't great, and you know what? It's fine. It's
Uh,
fine. You're gonna be okay.
yep.
You're gonna get a second place, right? You're gonna have
Yeah.
7 centers, so 49 over what 17 squared.
Uh,
God,
this is...
289, I think.
It will give some points. Oh, and the France finally lost Portugal, so that stupid fleet in Picardy is going to come off the board. So I can at least demilitarize English Channel at that point, or just take Brest.
It's just currently what, like an 80-point Turkey.
It
Kinda
can't
more
be
than that.
80 points. 80 points is like too much even for summer squares. But it's
I
pretty
mean,
huge.
but it's gonna be a 17 center Turkey, right? The next highest is a 7 center, and it's 7435. Excuse me, 75432. Right?
Yeah, that is about as split as you can get it. This is true. Uh, it's gonna be a pretty huge score for Turkey. That is absolutely 100% guaranteed. So, shall we move ahead to winter? Or are you still calculating? That's a lot of silence. I think it's
Okay, it's only a 75. It's only a 75-point Turkey.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Assuming Turkey gets to 17. And I mean, look, retaking Warsaw's not guaranteed, but it's pretty plausible. So I mean, okay, look.
It's only 17 supply centers. I'm sure we can manage. Anyway, let's go ahead to the winter.
Yeah. So winter '07, we see the build. We do see, in fact, Fleet Picker to get pulled
Yes,
off.
I
I
succeeded.
was rooting so hard, so hard for France to keep this fleet on the board, just throw a wrench in your plan, this masterwork, spend the whole game coming. But no, you actually got it.
Okay,
Now you
so
just gotta blow up this fleet in Portugal, man. That's a northern fleet.
this is true. If I can get rid of that fleet in Portugal, then everything. But no, that's a southern fleet because it's trapped below Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I'm okay with
Okay.
southern fleets. I have
that's fine.
succeeded in my mission, which means I am now guaranteed to become the board leader. Right? This is.
Yeah, anyway, you're certainly not gonna get eliminated, I'll tell you that much.
Yes. So, just in case any viewer doesn't realize this at this point. I feel like we've talked about it enough in the past. England can hold a stalemate line against no northern fleets with just a unit in Denmark, a support hold on St. Petersburg, and like 2 supports on Mid-Atlantic Ocean, I think. It's the lowest density stalemate line in the game. You can just hold it forever. So it's always nice to just knock every other fleet out of the north. And then you can do
it's
whatever
much
you
safer
want.
once Germany and France have been eliminated from the game.
Yes.
Because then they can't build any northern fleets. But yeah, to hold against Turkey and Austria, it can work really nicely.
Okay, so I should say the number of times I've seen every northern fleet eliminated without France losing Brest or Germany losing Kiel, Berlin, Holland, or Belgium is very few. It's like this one. But hey, it worked. So
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
mission complete.
Absolutely.
Now what?
Right, so let's look at Spring 08
Okay,
and see what now.
Spring 1908. Turkey doesn't bother defending Tunis. They're just like, take it. Which is actually mildly annoying for me because it means that I think that's a good thing overall. But I'm still not in a position to take Spain because Italy bounced me out of Mid-Atlantic Ocean.
Yep. Yep, but Baltic's coming back to Denmark. It's going to get to the other line. You're going to be okay.
Yep.
And I mean, just look, Turkey's going to retake Warsaw pretty soon because Turkey's just got too many units on the front lines. Like, looks pretty guaranteed to be next turn. And Munich is going to be getting pressured. And again, the line's not going to get broken. You guys have enough units on the line to hold. France and Germany have made peace. So look, you guys are you're gonna hold, and it's gonna be a 17 center turn. Great,
Yep.
That's the end of the game. Let's go. Let's just click to the end of the game, okay?
Okay, let's go forward to fall 1908. And here we have, is anything happening here? Yeah, France gets Marseille, but I take Brest off them because I'm like, I want a
No
center at
northern
this point.
fleets.
No northern
I see
fleets
northern
allowed.
fleet coming.
I see France is getting Marseille. I will not allow a northern fleet to get on this board. But then Italy gets into the Atlantic Ocean. How dare they?
How dare they? I'm really shocked you didn't move North Africa back to Mid-Atlantic Ocean here.
I should have.
Considering our game plan is no northern fleets, you just let a northern fleet into the game, man. How can you let that happen?
Yeah. Oh god, how could I have done that? That was terrible. And I can't even deal with it, because, like, if I force it to retreat, it's gonna go even more north.
Seems likely, yeah.
No, it probably won't go even more north, because the bot has some kind of survival instinct. But, yeah.
It could, and you can't let that happen, yes.
Exactly.
Also, very important to note in this turn was that Turkey chose to disband Tyrrhenian Sea rather than retreat to Gulf of Leon.
Yes.
I don't like that. I don't understand it. Because the fleet in Gulf of Leon is behind enemy lines, right? It's really scary. It's like in a mess with all possible plans, and like you can cut the line, get back into Tyrrhenian Sea. And it just like, I don't know. That retreat clearly is it's not a good disband, right? You clearly want to retreat it.
Yeah. Well, so if we go into the winter here, right?
You'll
we will
notice
see.
that Turkey doesn't build anything.
Turkey does not build anything, despite getting a build. This disband was a civil disorder.
Yup.
If we move
so,
into
wait a
the
minute.
spring of 1909.
Wait a minute. Turkey missed their moves. And then we go into the spring, and Turkey's in civil disorder.
Yep.
It's the most depressing thing. Turkey played such a good game, got into such a good position, was just crushing, steamrolling everybody.
And then
And
civil
then-
disorder.
Civil disorders.
Okay.
And because of the position, right, Turkey doesn't even have an army in Trieste or Venice, right? So Austria just can run into all of their stuff. This is where the game ends. Being a random time is just the most important thing, because every year, right, there's this 20% chance the game ends. So it is just suddenly a mad dash to see who can scoop up the most dots on this board.
Exactly, yep. And, like, Okay, I should say now, my strategy of getting rid of every fleet in the north and holding out just forever is gonna
Was
pay
a
off.
genius move. It was the biggest possible payoff ever. I am so annoyed that it worked. Because it had no right to work.
Okay, hang on. Let's redo the power rankings real quick. Knowing that Turkey is gone, they go to the bottom of the table now.
No, they're still not the bottom of the table.
No, they actually.
We're trying to figure out how many points they're expected to end the game with, right?
Oh, this is true. So they are nowhere near the bottom of the table. In fact, they might be in.
They're either first or second.
Yeah.
Right. So the problem is they're going to lose a lot of centers to Austria, right? Because Austria's going to run in their homeland.
Yes.
And so they can do some calculations. I think Turkey is. I think you're first now, and then I think Austria is second.
Austria is second or Turkey?
No, you're right. I mean, okay. I think sure. I think
it depends how long the game goes, right?
Yes, right. So you have to do some quick maths here to see how many turns Austria have. If Austria can get a build right, then Austria is going to be able to take every single center in the Balkans, right?
So Austria can't build for at least one more year because they have to take Trieste and then vacate Trieste and then take something else while they're doing that and build something. And that fleet in Naples can't do anything because it's stuck behind all of these dead Turkish fleets.
Yes.
So the
then probably Germany, right? Because Germany's probably going to support themselves into Bohemia, or no, just support themselves directly into Galicia, and then Galicia gets taken off the board, and then Galicia moves to Romania, and then Germany's going to get a lot of dots that way.
Yeah. So we're putting England first, then
England first, Germany second, Turkey third.
Okay, Turkey third, then Austria, then France, then Italy, or Italy, then France?
Yeah, France, then Italy. France isn't better than Italy. France is going to take Spain eventually, because you're going to tap Mid-Atlantic Ocean while covering Irish Sea. Also, I'm shocked you built an army in London here.
Yeah, I couldn't convoy it. This was time to build entirely fleets, right? Okay, so something important to note about this. I was
just thinking the fleet was that way you can kick out Mid-Atlantic Ocean while covering the Irish Sea, and then it's not going to be another fleet anymore.
This is true. So something quite important here is that in the tournament rules, it says, if someone goes into civil disorder, a replacement will be found as soon as possible. I was still thinking, if Turkey comes back here, do I want to have annoyed everyone? It's possibly not the best idea. But yeah, I'm not sure Army London is a good plan anyway. It's to convoy into a place, but...
Yeah, I think in an actual game, I think it's definitely a fine build, just not in a civil disorder game.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
so
this was the spring, right? Let's just see everyone try to grab the dots, right?
Let's go ahead to full 1909. Italy gets Brest off me while I go into Belgium.
And Mid-Atlantic Ocean, but hey, look, you're in Belgium now. And Germany supports you into Moscow, and then it's just okay, I mean, sure, whatever.
I'm not sure why Germany did this. This feels like a bad move. It might be because of that same rule that Turkey might come back. Or it might be because the fact that Turkey is getting reduced gives everyone more points in some of the squares. That's probably more... That actually is probably quite important here, right?
Yes.
But, yeah... And then Austria.
In the meantime, you're taking Belgium from Germany, so Germany is certainly not getting any more points.
Yeah, they get Warsaw, so they don't go down any, but
they're not going up, and it's all over.
Yeah, okay. I should say I'm not proud of my endgame play here. It is not hugely great.
It doesn't matter. You're gonna get a great top. It's gonna be like a 14 center England if the game goes 2 years. You're gonna get 2 centers a turn. You're gonna be great.
Okay, so here's an important thing that just happened. Italy's fleet separated from Italy's army. So now I can potentially take both Spain and Brest and get rid of that stupid northern fleet and take the final northern fleet
also
off of
Portugal.
The board.
You forgot Portugal.
Well, yeah, but you can only take 2 in a year, right? So after that, I could take Portugal and then finish that up.
Anyways,
But yeah,
Great, you're great. It's awesome, everything's clean. I'm shocked you didn't take Rome, but I do think you were worried about Turkey coming back and said, "All right, let's go party."
yes. And Austria was
So,
clearly
so
worried
the
about Turkey
gold.
coming back as well, because this support
Yep,
into Ionian doesn't happen otherwise. Okay,
yep.
so winter 1909, I just build another army, which I think is fair at this point because I've got the units to convoy it, right?
Yep.
It's and then I think nothing else happens on that board. So let's go ahead
Yep.
to spring 1910.
It's convoyed into Holland. You take Brest. You take Spain. You're all set up to take Portugal and something else maybe, but because of taps and yada yada, probably
And
not.
then I
So
am incredibly stupid and I lose Denmark to the German.
just unbelievable, unbelievable. I remember getting so annoyed at you about this one. You can't let that happen, man.
I don't even remember why I did this. It's like, it's so bad.
It was so bad, but you did it. It's fine. Let's look at the fall. You don't want to get into Sweden, but you can't take Denmark back. It's just all sad, and that's the end of the game. And that's it.
Okay, I should say that so Brest is still not off the board, unfortunately. It's in Gascony here. But I do manage to stop it getting back into Spain, so it stays in Gascony in the fall. And then I lose Denmark to the German. Yep. I gain Holland, Brest, and Spain, so I am now ahead of the Turk officially, thanks to the German taking Romania and the Austrian taking Budapest off of them.
Yep. So when you look at the scoring, did these Turkish centers count as adding to the sum of the squares?
I believe so, although I think they may have just discounted this game entirely from the tournament score.
What?
For I don't know how they ended up adjudicating this, because this game was like wildly ridiculous. I know I'm pretty sure they discounted it from their like official results that they're going to include in whatever it is that they're publishing
I think
after
that's
this.
just a mistake for them, for what it's worth. I think that's just a mistake.
What, because
Because, yeah, like there are NMRs in all games, right? Other games, countries have gone to the CD, and certainly less of them are quote unquote less impactful than this one. But like, this is a game, man. It was a tournament game, and the person had to leave. I think that player should still get no points because they went to the CD and that was the thing that they signed or whatever. But like, I don't know. This game still counts, man. I think this game still counts. I think you deserve this first place.
okay, well, I should say I'm kind of making assumptions there. I haven't talked to them about what they did to this game, so maybe they did count as, I don't know.
Way better if counted. It was a tournament game.
It's so weird, just the way that it played out.
Yeah, I mean, the ending of the game was a little crazy. It's not every day you see someone who's poised to be on a 17 center turkey just not enter another order ever again.
Yep. And like I should say, the Turkish player was still here. They turned up in the post-game chat. They missed their excuse missed turns and were like frantically trying to get back in the game and contact people to make that happen. And none of the moderators knew how to deal with that at the time. Which afterwards they got fixed. They figured out how to, they got kind of accustomed to the ways that you deal with that better. But right here, the Turkish player was just sitting there watching their position disappear. Which
That's really sad.
Yeah.
That's really, really sad.
Very, very sad for them. But yeah, if we go ahead to winter 1910, that Gascony fleet comes off the board. Army Munich gets built, and suddenly, for the first time in the entire game, if we count the northern side of the board as being everything from Mid-Atlantic Ocean, Portugal, Spain, Marseille, Munich, Berlin, Baltic, Bothnia, St. Petersburg, everything north of that line, it's just English fleets. So I did it. Mission accomplished, and just in time.
And like magic, as soon as you did it, you were on the board top.
As soon as I did it, I was on the board top, and just then, spring 1911, the game ends. So, I successfully accomplished my mission. I'm very happy with how this game went. I hope you viewers see why this is like an individual commentary that's we're keeping separate from the rest of the like more serious ones, because this game was ridiculous.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much for watching, and for witnessing my incredible play to top the board as England. If you wish for tutoring on how to play a successful England like this, I'm not available. Don't contact me about tutoring. But just copy what I did in this game. You'll do very, very well, I'm sure. Good luck. And we'll see you next time.